Today on the YouTube channel, I want to talk about relationships. So first, let's talk about push and pull dynamics. Push and pull dynamics is pretty common. That's how relationships are supposed to be. It's kind of like chasing and chaser. One is supposed to chase, and the other one is supposed to be the chased. That's kind of like the push and pull. In terms of the attraction, it's normal for men and women to kind of bounce in between the other. Normally, the men will approach women. Um, they're the ones who are kind of hunting, if you want to put it in those terms, hunting for the game. But yeah, women are normally the ones being chased initially, and then I find that after you guys have been intimate, it's more of a the woman will chase the man, uh, and it could go back and forth. I mean, that's how a normal relationship, healthy relationship should be. Is there's a mutual attraction where it's both. Um, One will chase, let's say the man will chase the woman, and then other times the woman will chase the man. We kind of learned this in childhood. I've been doing some uh not really catch up but reviewing. So a lot of this information, like conditioning, I've been reviewing. It's been a while, and I've been working on some things, so I had to review that. But that's learned as a child, with your needs. Like, are your needs being met with your parents? Are they um, reading your cues correctly? And if they are, that means you're creating a secure attachment style. And we'll kind of go over that briefly too with the relationships. The three are secure, avoidant, and anxious attachment styles. And that all starts from, like I said, a child, the relationship you have with your parents, even your siblings, and then that follows you into your relationships, intimate relationships with the opposite sex. Um, so secure is, like I said, it'll be both people will push and pull. Um, Anxious is kind of like a fear based, where it's you think the other person will leave you, so there's kind of like a fear of abandonment, or you're always worried that something's gonna go wrong. It might be a sense of feeling the relationship is too good to be true, which it could be, but I mean, you're if you are anxious, you're basing that information on past relationships. So you really need to look at the conditioning, the habits that you formed. Is it a correct perspective on the relationship to begin with? Because um, triggers, knowing your triggers will help you as well. Because if you're being triggered and you're automatically going back to anxious attachment style, that's not good, because it'll, like I said, put you in a state of kind of fight or flight. So you'll either kind of overcompensate and do too much, or you won't do enough in the relationship in terms of love language and just being there for the other person, because of the emotional dysregulation. And then what was it? It was anxious, secure, avoidant. So avoidant is kind of unique in that way, where they want the love, affection, and the relationship in general, but they don't want to get close because they've been hurt in the past, and they will kind of want to avoid conflict. It's a kind of confusing attachment style because they don't really communicate that well, because another fear of abandonment or fear of attachment. There's a lot of fear going on in the avoidant and the anxious attachment styles. So you really have to watch out with those. Um, I mean, it's normal for people to go between the attachment styles, but predominantly you should be in the secure attachment style where you feel safe to express yourself, you feel safe to say no, to be alone, and kind of just a well balanced person. And the person you're with is the same too, and you're able to provide the support, emotional support, and the well being that each of you need throughout different stages of the relationship. So that's kind of how it works. Like I said, it begins in childhood, and then as you grow up, the more experiences you have or shape your perspective on it. I know, like Red Pill, a lot of men say that the man shouldn't chase the woman. It kind of depends on how you look at it. I mean, the initial interaction should definitely be the man approaching, and then from there kind of feel it out. But if you're going in the sense that the man will be the provider, then it should also be equal. I mean, the woman is, if you're planning on having children, she's going to be the one to bear the children and predominantly raise the child. So there is a balance to that type of relationship. Now, if you're just going to be in a relationship with a woman just to be in the relationship, like there's no plan on having children or even marriage, then that's different. Then that'll kind of bring up the issue of gold diggers. That is a thing. Some women just want money and the lifestyle, and some of them will use you. Um, Others, it'll be kind of more of like a give and a take. They kind of know the relationship dynamics where it's the man normally is with a younger woman and he's getting sex from her, and um maybe his emotional needs are being filled as well, companionship. But a lot of the times in those dynamics, in the younger, if the woman is younger, she's getting supported monetarily just because the guy is a lot older. So in that dynamic, yeah, just be careful. I mean, there's signs of like narcissistic abuse or manipulation. So you can look those up. I mean, I'm not really gonna go into those in this video, but those are healthy examples of push and pull and how the relationship should go. I definitely lean more towards the man is a provider in that old school sense of traditional family dynamic. That's what I did when I was married, and that's how we raised our children. So that's what I promote. Um, it may not work for everyone, but just kind of do what works for you. You can't really force anything. It should be both of you are on the same page, you want the same things, and you fulfill each role. Let's see. But that's kind of it. I mean, there's gonna be a push and pull. Now, if you have like avoidant, then most likely it'll be more of like a pull, like pull away from intimacy, pull away from commitment. Could be both. Could be the woman, could also be the man. Uh, with commitment. fear, doubt. So it's kind of a lot to process, especially when you're just looking at it on a surface level. Like, okay, this is the attachment style that I'm seeing. These are the signs. So it can be a turn off for some people. I know for me, it can turn me off with certain attachment styles, or it's like they're too needy. I feel like they're too needy or kind of clingy. Um, I'm definitely, I would say, red pill, just because of the dynamic of, I think the man should be kind of like the prize, even though it is balanced, but I do feel like the man should be the prize, and also be the provider. So there's red pill in there, but it's also uh, not fully red pill. So I would say, yeah, it's a good balance. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like blue pill, but yeah, red pill. Um, a lot of people nowadays are not getting married, uh, even though there are financial benefits to it, like taxes and things like that. But a lot of men see it as a risk getting married. Um, I feel like it's a risk only if you don't understand the other aspects. Like I said, of course, everyone has trauma, and there may be a sense of love bombing in the beginning. Like they're both of you are probably putting on a mask. You want to show your best in the beginning, and then slowly the mask will fall, and then you'll see truly who the other person is. Sometimes this could be after marriage, like after um, the relationship has solidified and people feel a little bit safer to truly be who they are. Sometimes that's where things will fall apart, because whatever attracted you to that person in the beginning now is looked at as being a negative in the relationship. So it's kind of like a turn off. It's one of those weird dynamics where the initial attraction was great, but then after the shift in the relationship, there's a change, and now you see the other person differently. Just some things to think about. Um, I've been divorced, so I know what that's like, and then I also have children, so that's part of it too. Um, just being aware of toxic relationships, and then just being able to, on both sides, just walk away. Like, no matter, this could be a hard one too, because if you're attached, let's say if the man is attached sexually, like a lot of people call it whipped. If he's whipped, then he may not be fully aware of what is actually going on. Even when other people are telling him like, oh, yo, like this, she's doing this, or I'm noticing this, and it seems to be a pattern. If he's so attached, he won't really see clearly, and he'll justify behavior. So some things to look out for. I mean, there's a lot to look out for, especially like I said, trauma. Even if you have like mother or father wounds, those are big. And your parents being married, that's a big thing too. It's just, that's the initial relationship that you see. And a lot of times people say that you attract, like for me, I would attract my mom, someone similar to my mom. And then if I was a lady, you would attract someone like your dad. Just because, like I said, that's the initial relationship that you saw in the beginning. And then you'll have to really be aware of those things, like, oh, this is how my parents did it. So you'll have to know basically what not to do or what to do. Like if you want to have the same type of relationship, or maybe that wasn't a good example, so you want to change some things, you need to be able to see the red flags and also the green flags as well. So um when you're younger, probably not thinking about all of that stuff. You're more so thinking about emotional connection and maybe even just like a sexual relationship. And then as you get older, you learn through experience like the trauma that may have been hidden on both parts. I mean, I hear a lot of people saying like, oh, trying to blame, the one party, like, oh, this happened, but you pretty much let that happen. You know what I mean? Like you were in the relationship, you stayed if it was bad for whatever reason. Maybe you had to learn some things about yourself, like setting boundaries and self love, but hopefully you've learned from the experience and you're not going around like trashing women in general. I know a lot of guys, especially in the red pill community, will trash women. Um, that's not helping the situation. Like, I think that's why a lot of people are saying they don't want to get married. Not only just because it's things are more expensive, inflation and everything now, but it's just there's a stigma around it more so now than I think before. So, I mean, I would always frame the conversation about women in a more subjective way instead of like a blaming victim, like they did this, more of be more factual, like, okay, this is what happened, this is how I contributed to it, and this is some things that I could have done better. I think that's a better way to look at it than shifting the blame onto the other person fully and not taking accountability for your actions in that situation as well. And just communication overall. I know a lot of relationships fall apart because communication and then incompatibility with love language. You're not really aware of your partner's love language, and then maybe you'll have to adjust to provide that for them. If it is like a committed relationship, I mean, if it's a newer relationship, then of course you're kind of testing the waters. You want to see if this is something you want to invest in, and then go from there. But being able to leave at any point in time, I think is crucial, especially in business or in life. You should not be attached to the point where you cannot walk away. That's a kind of a superpower. If whenever you get to that point, if you can walk away, you're the one who has the power in that situation. And it's not necessarily trying to control the other person or be manipulative. It's more of a self-respect, self-love, um, knowing what you want, what you'll put up with, and then if that's not what you want, then walking away and being okay with that, not feeling any type of way. I mean, maybe you'll be hurt or you don't want to hurt them, but at the end, are you really hurting them if they're doing things that you don't like and you spoke up about it? So it's one of those like survival guilt things where you feel bad about leaving even though there could be some type of abuse there, or the relationship has become toxic, or could just be incompatibility. Like I said, as you get further on with the relationship, you learn that maybe this isn't what you thought it was, and then your goals don't align. So yeah, just go your separate ways. So hopefully this video opened up your mind to some new topics. A lot of this is not really new. I mean, depending on where you are in your journey and what type of experiences you had, um, it's good to look into it, on the internet now. I would probably do my own research, like influencers, some of what they say are correct. You have to kind of really have discernment with that, because people can kind of just say things and not really have like a fact check, like where did you get this information from. So I'm always big on doing your own research. If this is something you're interested in, then of course, like, look it up online. I also offer different services, so if you're interested, message me. And as always, look out for more content, and I'll see you on the next video.